Hey, what's up guys? Dave from CarNewba Detailing. Look what I got behind me. That is our finish Audi Q5, Dr. Beasley's Nano Resin MX on that one. So that one has been sitting there actually for a good period of time, curing, and it is looking fabulous. It does have some light dust on it. My customer did drive it once or twice after the coating application. So, but the gloss levels on that, man, are just unbelievable. But this is what we're going to be working on today. We have this Cadillac XT5, excuse me. We're going to be doing a full decon. We're basically going to go through the same exact process we did on the Audi Q5 over here, and then an application of Nano Resin MX, and then full glass parency treatment all around, including the sunroof as well. So this is a bit of a darker color. It does have that heavy metallic flake in there as well, as you can see. But we do have a dealership coating, quote unquote, already on here. So first thing we need to do is give it a little bit more of an alkaline based bath so we can go ahead and break down that coating. And typically after that, with an alkaline based automotive soap solution, that coating, quote unquote, is pretty much gone. A light polish is going to remove it after that point, and then you're set to go with your paint correction process and then also your coating process as well. So I'm going to go ahead, start the decon process. You guys have seen this hundreds of times on YouTube. You've seen it on my channel before. Take care of the wheels, take care of the wash, get it all dried up. I'm going to be using the gauntlet today from the rag company. So we're going to go ahead and test that out. I've used it before. It is an amazing drying towel. I'll show you guys a bit of that throughout this video as well. Now the interior of this Cadillac has been taken care of with a color lock leather, not restoration system, but protection system with their leather shield, and it looks amazing. And I mean, my customer goes above and beyond, puts a little bit of a blanket on the seats that are used more frequently. But the leather overall, after that leather shield, the feel, the touch, the quality, it's just spot on, man. I am super impressed with that color lock system, and it's my go-to at this point when it comes to my higher end packages. So let's go ahead, get this thing cleaned up, and then ready for paint correction. I'll show you guys some of the defects that we're able to go ahead, take care of, and finish off. So, alright guys, so we just finished the wash. We're going to go ahead and dry. And what we're going to use for that, now I've used this towel before, is going to be the gauntlet from the rag company, okay? Now this is their largest version of the gauntlet. It is freaking massive, and it is a heavy towel and a bit cumbersome in this size, and I'm usually a big fan of larger towels like the double twisters. I love it in that nice big size for drying, but this thing is just so thick, guys. I think that the smaller size, the one right underneath this, is a much better option for most people. Even for me, someone that prefers larger towels, this works great, but it is a bit cumbersome. Now, what's the benefit of the gauntlet compared to some other towels? Number one is the hybrid technology. They have that eagle edgeless type weave plus the double twisters, so it's super, super soft. It feels nice. It doesn't have that rough texture that other towels might have that are needed for drying, like the double twisters. So when I show this to a customer that's interested in maybe purchasing some towels from me, I show them this right over here. They're like, wow, that feels amazing. When I show them the double twisters, they're like, that actually feels kind of rough. Are you sure it doesn't scratch the paint? Even though it doesn't, in reality, it feels like it does because the fibers, the weave is grabbing onto the person's finger. So I just want to give you a close-up of the weaves over here. As you can see, super soft, but you can see that hybrid technology that they got going on over here, you know? And then they have that nice suede border, super absorbent as well right there, super soft. And it's very quality as well. It just goes all the way around. There's no stitching or anything like that, so it's not going to weaken on you. But yeah, man, this thing could take care of two SUVs like this easy. Now, one thing about the towel, I did dry this side, worked really, really well. One thing about the towel, it does have a little bit more drag than something like the double twister. So this has a little bit more drag, not too much. So keep that in mind. But, you know, that's because it's just such a heavy towel. But yeah, man, this thing it's amazing at drying. Let me give you guys an example. One huge benefit of having a large towel is you can just open it up. Open her up. Drop it down. And nice and even. And just drag across. It's like they do in those fancy videos at the rag company. Bam! And you're pretty much set to go. Flip it over to the other side. You can take care of a whole hood with just 2 pass-throughs, and you're pretty much set to go, guys. And this is a completely fresh towel, and in my experience, once you wash and you use it once or twice, it works even better. So I did not throw this in the laundry machine or anything like that. I do recommend you guys to do that. I just did not have enough time yesterday evening coming back from the color lock training. But even as a fresh towel, it's working great. So it has become my new favorite drying towel over the double twisters. I know some of you guys are the waffle weave type of people. I've never really been a big fan of the waffle weave. I've always gone with the double twisters for drying. But yeah, man, this thing has become my new favorite drying towel for sure. So I'm going to go ahead, finish off the drying process, and then we're going to go ahead, clay her up, make sure there's no embedded contaminants on the surface. There's not going to be too many on this type of vehicle because it is so new. There shouldn't be too many. And as I am washing the car and drying, I don't feel too much. Some contamination on the lower rocker panels over here, but that's really it. So we're going to go ahead and clay the surfaces just to be safe, and so it doesn't go ahead and mess up our polishing and paint correction process. All right, see, so there's some chip repair over here, right over there. You can see some rubbing and wet sanding marks that they've left behind. It's like they go ahead, they start the process, and they just don't finish it. That's one of the biggest issues, is the finishing. They just do not. A lot of these dealerships just do not know how to properly finish a vehicle when it comes to correction or scratch removal and all that stuff. They just sand her down and grab a rotary and throw it on there and hope for the best, you know? But we're going to go ahead and dry it off, and you guys are like, oh, Isaiah, you should dry it before the water spots. DI water, guys. Remember, DI water. Make sure you get DI water, and you're pretty much set to go. And then you're probably asking, oh, why don't you just fucking just leave it alone? Let it air dry. Well, if you do let it air dry, even though it's deionized water, it's still going to have some type of mineral content that's been dragged throughout the wash process on the surface of the vehicle, especially on the edges and things like that, because your wash mitt cannot get in between these edges over here, the door handles and all that good stuff. So there's still going to be dirt in certain areas that you're not able to reach, but water can reach there, and when it does, it drags that mineral deposit along with. So you want to make sure you clean that off. That's why you find a lot of hard water spots like this that get dried on the surface on a lot of vehicles, is because all the nasty stuff inside these trim pieces get dragged by the water. Even though it's DI water, it gets dragged by the liquid and then dries off, and then those minerals dry on the surface of the paint, leaving a streak or a water spot. So make sure you still dry the vehicle even with deionized water. Here's a perfect example right over here, but we're going to get to that in just a second. Make sure to remove that before it gets embedded on the clear coat. So we're going to go ahead, dry this thing off, and get to it, all right? All right, guys, so we got her in the garage, finished the decon process on this bad boy. We're going to go ahead and start correcting, but before that, you got to go ahead and do, a light inspection on the paints. We're just doing a one-step today. I have my scan grip over here, and I've fallen in love with this scan grip. I'm going to be purchasing a few more, some of the larger versions with a tripod and also the mini version as well. But you have some pretty awesome options. So before, you only had so many options when it comes to the amount of Kelvin and the type of light that you can get. But with the new scan grip, you can adjust the complete brightness levels. It's going to show you the amount of runtime that you have in your battery, and also the actual Kelvin as well. So let me give you a good example. So let me put it down over here on my ladder so I can show you. But basically how it works is you just go ahead and press the on button, and what you have is basically up and down for the amount of Kelvin that you want. Go ahead and pay attention to the light. See how much bluer it's getting? And as we go down on the scale, it gets a lot warmer. It gives you more of that natural kind of sun tone. And then all you have to do from there is hold the power button, and then you can go ahead and adjust the actual brightness of the light itself. How awesome is that? So cool. Now, they have larger versions. They're actually Bluetooth as well, so you can connect it to your phone when you have it on your tripod and have it just so simple to use. You could just change the Kelvin and everything off of your phone. You don't have to worry about heading back to the light. And actually, that version of the scan grip was co-developed with Scott Nichols. You'll see either if I posted before, that was the same gentleman, the same shop, Distinct Detail that we were at for the color lock training. So it's super awesome to see and hear in person from one of the individuals that kind of co-developed the actual tool itself. and see why they added the features and all that cool stuff. So, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and do some inspection on the car. Ray did a little light inspection. I can tell you right now, this Cadillac is actually in a bit better condition than what the Audi was. There's not a lot of swirls compared to the Audi itself. It looks like they did try to detail this one just a tad bit more. But still, we still have some things to address, some light swirl marks. It is a bit older than the Audi. It's seen a few more wash processes than the Audi has. So some light swirl mark remover. Go ahead and polish out the B-pillars and all that good stuff. And then go ahead and start the coating application as well. And I'll try to get a bit more into detail into Dr. Beasley's Nano Resin MX on today's video, since I have a lot more experience with it at this point, because it is almost a brand new coating on the market. So even the authorized installers only had so much experience with the actual product itself. So, and guys, I forgot to mention the compound dust polish I went with was the Rebuild 2000 from the Wax Shop, and also the Blueberry Pad. The Blueberry Pad from Buff and Shine. That was the best combo that I found so far after testing out on the hood over here. It gave me the best finish, was able to remove most of the swirl marks that I was seeing throughout the painted surfaces, and it's just a breeze to use, guys. If you're a beginner, really looking to maybe up your game a little bit, it's a very simple polish to go ahead and start off with, and you still get some really great results. And yeah, I've been enjoying it so far. I truly have been enjoying it. I've pulled it out a few times. Ha, that's what she said, or he said. But yeah, it's been a great polish overall. I've really been enjoying it, all jokes aside. And it's something I'm probably going to purchase later, because on the softer kind of GM paint, I run into this a lot. The Blueberry Pad from Buff and Shine is one of my go-tos when it comes to softer paint from GM. And the polish I usually put it up against with is going to be Rebuild or something like Perfect Finish or something like that. So really, really works great. It's able to remove a lot of those defects, bring a lot of clarity back, and finish really well too. So really, really been enjoying this stuff. Alright guys, so we just finished polishing out the whole thing, took care of all the black piano trim pieces, took care of the paint. We're pretty much 90% there, 85 to around 90% with the one step. Again, it wasn't too bad, but did have some areas that we needed to address, so we took care of that. Next thing we have to do, I don't want to walk backwards, I don't know, I'm walking all the way over here. The next thing we have to do is go ahead and throw in the panel prime. So panel prime from Dr. Beasley's is basically kind of like any other panel prep or prime from any other manufacturer. Prior to using this, and I still use what I'm about to tell you guys is P&S paint prep solution. I use that for inspiration, any other ceramic coating application that I'm doing, and that's actually what I use on the Audi as well prior to applying MX on that one. So Victor from Dr. Beasley's. I followed up with him, just wanted to give him my experience with the MX solution and coating application, kind of the results. I was really impressed by it overall, and he kind of just mentioned like they also released the panel prime, so they went and sent out a few boxes to me as well for me to go ahead and utilize this instead of paint prep from PNS, because you always have to remember you want to be utilizing the same category of products for the manufacturer. You don't just want to be mixing and matching all the time, especially when it comes to coating application. You want to make sure it's within the same family. So use Dr. Beasley's panel prime for Dr. Beasley's coatings. Use paint prep from PNS for inspiration, and vice versa, you know? Excuse me, what I was about to say. Another interesting thing I want to go over with you guys when it comes to the Nano MX coating and all of Dr. Beasley's coatings overall is this little bottle right over here, the paint coating prep. Now, I just showed you the panel prime from Dr. Beasley's, which is completely different than the paint coating prep. So every box you get of Nano Resin, Nano Resin MX, Nano Resin Pro, you're going to receive a little bottle of paint coating prep. Now, what is this stuff? It acts a little bit like the panel prime that I just showed you guys in that white box over there, but this actually sets complete anchor points on the surface of the paint for the coating itself. So it's not just your typical paint prep or panel prime or anything like that. This is kind of like the multi-layer stage for Dr. Beasley's. You apply this and make sure that the surface is completely ready, prepped and primed, and also sets anchor points for the ceramic coating to adhere to on the painted surfaces. So you want to make sure you get complete coverage of this stuff. About 75% of the bottle you go through when it comes to SUV this size. A sedan, you probably go through half of a bottle, but you want to make sure that you're utilizing this prior to your coating application. It's not just an IPA wipe down or a panel prime like I showed you in the other box to remove stuff. It just sets those anchor points for the coating itself. So this thing is super important for the longevity and durability of the coating overall. Guys, so here is the bottle of the panel prime. This is kind of like your IPA, quote unquote, or your paint prep. This comes before your paint prep solution that comes with your coating box itself from Dr. Beasley's. And again, that's the one that sets the anchor points. This is actually going to be cleaning the surface. So what do you got to do? It's a bit different. You don't just spray on and wipe off. You do have to spray, get complete coverage on the surface that you're working on, let it sit for about 30 seconds or so, and that is when you go ahead and remove it, okay? Now, you might run into situations, and it does say on the bottle, and when I talk to Victor as well, you might have to do this multiple times, because when it comes to these coatings, especially when you run into 5-year coatings, 10-year coatings, lifetime coatings from these manufacturers, the key to the durability is not just the maintenance and the ceramic toppers that you use throughout your maintenance program, but it's also the prep itself. Not even the paint correction, guys. It is the prep, making sure that that surface is completely naked, virgin paint, quote unquote, if you want to call it, for that coating to go ahead and adhere to those anchor points that the other chemical is going to go ahead and set on the vehicle surface that I showed you prior. But let's go ahead and hit it with panel prime real quick. There's a little on-off button over here. You just got to switch it. Opens it up. And then you just go ahead and start spraying onto the surface. And remember, you got to get complete coverage, and it aerates really well. That's another great thing about this product. So it's really easy to get that complete coverage. And prior to this, guys, I did not use any IPA, nothing. I just removed the polish with a microfiber towel. Continue the process all the way around. Ooh. It's kind of difficult doing this while trying to record with the gimbal as well. So complete coverage, and you can already see it going ahead and making things happen, you know? So you will go through a good amount of this product on the surfaces that you're working on. So I just want to show you guys something really interesting when it comes to the panel prep or paint prep, whatever you want to call it, from Dr. Beasley's, is it kind of fades into itself. So you'll cover a whole section, but where the initial spray occurs, that's where it kind of fades in. So after about 30 seconds to a minute, just as recommended from the manufacturer, that's when you notice when it fades into the point where it's at right now, I go ahead with my buff off. And the crazy thing about this stuff, guys, is that it's so well lubricated when you're buffing this stuff off. It's so smooth, so slick. Like, I don't feel like I'm causing any damage necessarily to the paint that I just spent hours correcting. It's just so much smoother than any other paint prep or, you know, solution I've used in the past. And it just works so well. Like, you could feel an absolute difference when it comes to painted surfaces with this stuff. And it's just that proper lubrication that I just mentioned to you guys is what's getting me right now, because every time I finish paint correction and then I go on with a paint prep, I make sure I flood the surface, because it's like the last thing I want is my towel or a speck of dust or something marring my correction work. So. And now, guys, we're applying the paint coating prep. Again, this is the solution that applies the anchor points for the nano resin coating to properly adhere to the surface of the vehicle. And same thing, guys, you want complete coverage with this. It's a bit more streaky. You do have to get a few more towels to go ahead and knock this stuff down, but that's just ensuring that it's able to cover the whole panel that you're working on, okay? So just spray it on just like that. And same thing with the last solution. It kind of spreads itself around very well. Even though it's targeted in one area, the solution just spreads itself across the panel that you're working on, even with such a small spray nozzle. Like, you see how that works? Just that one area covered this whole section right over here. So complete coverage. Make sure you're wiping everything down and remove absolutely all residue off of the surface. When I mean residue, remove this stuff, make sure it's buffed off completely, and then you go ahead and move on to the coating application. Alright, guys, so I already started the process of applying Dr. Beasley's Nano Resin MX. Again, we spent a good amount of time prepping the vehicle surface, making sure that it's perfectly clean. After that, we make sure we set those anchor points for the coating. And then after that, we go ahead and start the coating application. Now, I completed the hood. And the thing about any of their lineup of coatings that I've noticed is after you apply those anchor points with the prep and the prime, it is already super slick after that point, because those anchor points are causing that slickness on the surface. So after you apply the coating, you're not going to really notice too much difference initially when it comes to slickness, all right? Because the surface that you're working on is already extremely slick as it is. But after that cure time, after that 7 to 12 days worth of cure time on the vehicle, there's a massive increase in gloss and shine. There's a massive increase in slickness, and that is where the water beading really kicks in, and you get that candy-like shine that we see on the Audi over there. Again, that's got about 2+ weeks worth of dust and dirt on it right now, and it's still looking really good. When we go ahead and hit it with that wash, it's going to look fabulous. And just a few hours even after application, you notice the coating curing on the surface, but after that 7-day period, guys, it is amazing. It is truly amazing the way these cars look after we go ahead and apply these coatings. So I'm going to continue the process. After you prime your applicator pad, after you prime your suede applicator pad with about 7 to 10 drops, you only need about 4 to 5 after that point, and you keep applying as needed, and then you work your areas section by section. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. I don't really like recording too much of the coating process, because I like to dial myself in. The last thing I want to do is miss a spot or leave a high spot or something like that on the surface of the vehicle. So I really like to dial myself in, but I'll try to get a clip here and there for you guys when I get a chance. All right, guys, so coating is done. Coating's on there. It's going to be curing. Dr. Beasley recommends a minimum of 7 days for quote-unquote a complete cure. So during that whole 7 days, water cannot touch the vehicle, minimal driving on the vehicle. You can still drive it, but not too much. You want to make sure you don't get any kind of bug guts or bird droppings or anything on the coating itself, because that's really going to hinder the curing effect of the coating. Because remember, even after the recommended points a manufacturer gives you for a cure time on a ceramic coating, it's still going to be curing even after that point, guys. It just continually gets harder and harder as it sits out in the sun. As time elapses, it's going to continue to cure on the surface. I actually had this conversation with Dave Phillips, the chemist behind PNS Inspiration, another ceramic coating that I utilize, and he said it can take anywhere up to a month to 2 months until the coating is actually hit a full cure, meaning that it's 100% cured, maximum gloss, maximum shine, maximum water beading. So each coating is a bit different, obviously, depending on the type of resin and silicon dioxide in the coating. But we're going to go ahead and start applying glass parency on the glass as well. Every single one of my coatings are provided with a front windshield. My customer wanted the full windshield kit, so we went ahead and upped the game on that. So we're going to go ahead and provide a full glass parency treatment on all the glass, including the sunroof as well. So what I like to do is I just go ahead and lay out each one of the glass parency packets on the ground. As you can see, the treatment comes in these little packets. You have section A and section B. You go ahead, read the directions. Super simple. You do have to be an authorized installer for glass parenting, especially if you want to go ahead and apply a 3-year warranty, which is always recommended for your customer. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today as well. So we're going to go ahead and apply it. I don't want to go into full detail with glass parenting. I'm hitting you guys with a lot of information today. I just want to give you guys a quick overview of what's going on. I got to go through a complete decon of the glass as well, make sure that's perfect before we apply the coating, and then move on from there.